YouTubers having a fall from grace is something we are pretty used to on the internet at this point, but I think there's something kind of interesting about the Nick Rekieta situation. So welcome back to Words of Paradise. I'm your host, Leon Idol, and we're going to, of course, go over what we probably all know at this point. By the time you're seeing this video, it's a day later, not exactly breaking news, but I still think it's important to look at and just see how the internet's reacting to it, give my thoughts on it, because, like I say, there are some interesting points to take into consideration. So we're going to get into this before we do. Hit that subscribe button. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day, and while the Nick Rekieta stuff, I guess, wouldn't normally constitute as nerdy, I'm gonna be real. I found him, like many other people, during the Vic Mignogna trial all those years ago, and frankly have followed him off and on since, followed him very heavily for a while, especially during the Vic Mignogna stuff, and then sort of fell off because of a lot of what would end up going on to happen to him. We're seeing now with his arrest. So obviously you see this, Nick Rekieta and his wife are in jail for possession, along with April I'm sorry if I butchered that, and a hot wife he has been seeing. And yeah, we got the mugshots here, which, to be fair, not a bad-looking mugshot. Like, definitely not a bad-looking mugshot. I'll give him credit. Definitely better than the two women here. But, yeah, I saw some tweets here. Obviously, this is coming after the very infamous clip of Nick Rekieta being absolutely smashed on his live stream just 2 nights ago, or maybe 3 nights ago by the time this goes up, which would lead Eric July to extend help. And, I mean, he is not looking good here if you haven't seen this. Like, he was just absolutely trashed. As somebody that used to do a whole lot of drinking, I still have a drinking now and again on my live streams. There's somebody that used to do a whole lot of drinking. I mean, what does this image look like right here? Now, I don't think he's actually, pleasuring himself. I think it's just a, drunken and probably at this point, as we know, drug-induced muscle spasm.
Why is my camera so on?
But, yeah, that's the clip that was circulating that got everybody real worried for Nick. And I don't know, should we really be worried or should we be surprised? I mean, worried maybe so, but should we be surprised? This has been the case with Nick Rekieta for the last almost 2 years. I mean, after the Vic Mignogna stuff, he really blew up. I mean, his channel sort of came out of nowhere. At least it came out of nowhere for a lot of individuals in our space. And then, obviously, we had Kyle Rittenhouse and Johnny Depp, which took him to even greater heights. I mean, the dude rose fast, and because of that, he attracted a lot of individuals on our side of the internet. Well, with his political leanings, the way he would just handle certain cases, the way he would talk about certain cases with such expertise, but also with a bit of fresh wit to it. I mean, he sort of took the image of the lawyer as the stuffy individual who, or even kind of the slimeball individual that you see in the movies, or this, so unwilling to have fun, and he really made being a lawyer, which granted he's a small town Minnesota lawyer, but he made that image look normal and almost down home in a way that's like, hey, look at you weaves, I'm just like one of you, even though, frankly, I would actually be so bold as to say he was sort of grifting on the anime community, but, and then kind of grifting on the anti-woke space, and I don't use that word a lot, I very rarely throw around the term grifter, but, again, Nick did it in a way that seemed sort of effortless and like he fit in, but he always seemed to be around people who were getting their bridges burned, whether it be Eat the Man Skyver, Dick Masterson. He's always surrounded himself with individuals that tend to jump from one group to another on the internet after constantly burning bridges, and he never seemed to be a good judge of character when picking those sides, which is why I saw this tweet from Hail the Lore, and I thought, okay, this is pretty interesting. One or two pathetic individuals who never cared about Nick to begin with, and what they can benefit from him, and now laugh at his unfair downfall. The other is an actual human who cares about Nick and hopes he gets better. And of course, you've got Dick and Vito here, and then you've got Cobra Cass, Jeremy. I'll be real. I don't think this is actually a very good tweet. This is a very fair tweet, because you're effectively blaming Nick's downfall on other individuals, and I think that takes out a lot of the personal responsibility aspect that we all need to, come to terms with. At the end of the day, when you screw up on YouTube, or when you screw up in your personal life, or whatever it may be, and when the consequences of your actions finally catch up to you, you're going to have to take that to the bank. You're going to have to own it. We've all had to at some points in our lives. I definitely know I've had to at certain screw-ups in my life. So I think I see a lot of people, this isn't just to call out Hail the Lore and to attack him, but I see a lot of individuals with this mindset. They're going in, and frankly, it kind of pisses me off that I'm having to defend Dick Masterson and Vito here, because your boy ain't a fan. In fact, I can't stand either of these mofos, but I gritted my teeth and got through far more of their live stream than I wanted to, just to see how they were going to handle the situation. And, I mean, yeah, it was kind of douchey and uncouth, but Also, nothing out of the ordinary for their show. So, again, it's just, to me, blaming these individuals while holding up Jeremy, again, who's somebody I actually do, I am a fan of. I think that he does good work. I don't think it's really fair to characterize it in this way because, yeah, I don't think you can blame Dick, Dick and Vito for Nick's downfall. I think you can only blame Nick for his downfall. He, rose real fast, got a taste of that money, got a taste of what it was like to live the high life after being a small town lawyer that probably just made a relatively modest living. I can't, we think of lawyers and these big city, these big city individuals with lots of cars and money, and yeah, that's not all lawyers. Nick was probably a very regular, average, everyday guy. Got a taste of that YouTube money, got a taste of that fame, that fortune. And it ruined him, man. It really did. So I think that we have to acknowledge the personal responsibility aspect of this, especially because of what he was charged with, which is, first of all, Kiwi Farms is going wild with this. If you guys don't know what Kiwi Farms is, imagine 4chan, but, like, incredibly, like libertarian to the max with less anonymity. It's not something I would recommend you frequent, but it's definitely there. It's fun now and again. And I mean, there is pages of this. It was blowing up, and there was a lot of incredibly fun things folks had to say. The vast majority of people just slandering Nick, deserved or undeserved, and other folks like Swole McPole here having some pretty weird conspiracy theories on the matter. My money is on the judge being behind this. Schneider watched the post-appeal stream, brought it to the attention of the judge sent the cops around. I mean, if you really wanted to arrest people for possession of controlled drugs, you could be scooping them up from the streets of every city on the West Coast in the hundreds of thousands. Nobody gives a fuck, but then Rekieta comes out and calls the judge in his lawsuit a moron who drinks her own vagina liquor, and in less than 24 hours, he's getting his front door kicked in. Gotta be someone with some fucking clout to make that happen. I'll be real. I don't buy that. Like, I guess technically that's possible. When you're a lawyer, you make enemies in the justice system. And Nick is very much one to not mince words, whether it be for a gag or not. He says some pretty egregious shit. So, okay, sure, I guess there's the possibility that people finally had enough. They've snapped. Some higher ups in the justice system are like, you know what? Here's our chance. Let's take him out. Yeah, no, I doubt that. I think this is, back to the decision-making aspect. This was just a case of dude let money go to his head, thought that he couldn't be touched, thought that he was, unharmable, and, hey, eventually your bad life choices catch up with you. What this is an interesting one, though. So I'm going to get to the mugshots in a bit. I know I've glossed over them. Oh, I've got them. We're going to talk about them. But I want to point this out before I get to the mugshots. What's interesting to me is the difference in booking times. April and Nick were booked into custody at 10:03 and 10:08 respectively. Kayla was over an hour later at 11:30. Why such a big difference? Perhaps a traffic stop gone wrong with April and Nick, the Mustang being involved no doubt, followed by a welfare check to the house, finding Kayla zonked out as the kids tend to themselves. I don't know, but the time difference doesn't make a ton of sense for a single raid event, because we don't actually know, or at least as of the time of recording this, we don't know how this went down. What we do know is that yep, they're definitely here. They're in prison, or they're in jail. Sorry, not prison. And, yeah, Nick was booked at 10:08 p.m. and his wife at 11:30. Again, April, who was with Nick at the time, assumingly based on the time of the arrest, 10:03. All right, that's a pretty interesting difference there. Now, as the post mentioned, there's kids involved. That's what makes this situation far sadder than I think the vast majority of people give it credit for, is that he's got multiple kids that are now, I mean, both parents are in jail, plus some random third-party woman that was living with them. It's a real, again, as someone that makes fun of internet leftists using words like trauma and PTSD all the time, no, this is probably something pretty traumatic for their kids. As someone who's watched my father, and stepfather actually, get arrested multiple times due to the actions of my mom, which I had talked about on X yesterday. Yeah, it's a very strange sort of angle to take this at. I don't really know how anybody can defend Nick in this instance, knowing that his bad behavior, regardless of whether it was for the lulz, regardless of whether it was to make good content, now is affecting his children in a possibly irreparable way. Because, I mean, look at what he's being charged with. He's possessions of ammo in any firearm alongside possession of a Schedule 1, 2, 3, or 4 drug, possession in the 5th degree. Now, for anyone that knows anything about the legal side of stuff, anytime you've got guns and you've got a massive drug possession charge like this, that immediately ruins you. I mean, that makes the case so much worse. He has got a firearm charge while use of a controlled substance. Now, if you were to go to the Minnesota BalmerLawOffice.com, Minnesota 5th degree controlled substance offensive. This is a felony level drug offense. 5th degree possession or sale is punishable by up to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. However, with the assistance of an experienced drug crime defense lawyer, first-time offenders are very rarely sentenced to prison. Nonetheless, they are very serious, which does make me think he is probably going to plea down to a misdemeanor. I mean, he has never had any sort of, to my knowledge, legal trouble of sorts, and if for the research I've done is correct, if he pleads down to a misdemeanor and goes through some sort of rehab, he wouldn't even necessarily be disbarred. That begs the question, though, because he has pissed off so many individuals in the justice system with his line of work, is he going to get that chance? Like, a lot of this is actually going to come down to how they treat him as a person. And let's be real, there very well may be some personal vendettas involved in this. It's not too crazy. I don't think that's why he got arrested, but now that he has been arrested and he's going to have to go through this process, okay, yeah, that could definitely come to light. You know, as I was telling the story the other day, you know, like I said, on X about my mother getting my father arrested, let's be real, it was a female cop, you know, my mother attacked my father, but because a female cop was called, would not believe that she was the aggressor, despite, you know, testimonial to the contrary, my dad was the one that went to jail that night. So yeah, there are people who are going to have their preconceived notions or put their personal feelings ahead of, you know, the mindset of innocent until proven guilty. And I think this might bite Nick in the ass. It's a really sad and unfortunate situation, but also not one that I think we should care about too much. I mean, I know I'm making at this point like a 12-minute video talking about it, but I'll be real. Nick kind of, again, has brought this on himself. And look, if he gets the opportunity to go to rehab and fix his life, by all means. I'm a big fan of second chances. I think that we've seen second chances for a lot of individuals on the internet, and it has worked out in the best for him. You know, Mark Wahlberg got a second chance after, you know, a hate crime where he beat an Asian dude half to death. Logan Paul, I mean, people may hate him or whatnot, but he definitely got his second chance after, you know, the Suicide Forest stuff and the tasing the dead rat. And, you know, now he's living a more or less respectable life, you know, playing in the WWE. Like, individuals get second chances, and I would not be opposed to seeing Nick get a second chance, but homeboy's going to have to earn it, because he has spent the better part of the last 2 years becoming the lolcow that he used to spend all of his time making fun of, after choosing, you know, bad friend after bad friend that, again, it's not their fault. He did this to himself. But let's be real, part of the company that you keep definitely says a lot about you, and maybe it'll help him, you know, pick better company in the future. And that's still without even getting into the fact that he had another YouTuber's wife who was getting divorced staying with him. When, let's be real, situations like that never end well. All in all, I just kind of want to know what you guys think on this situation, because, again, as somebody that used to be a fan of Nick Rekieta that very much fell off the fan train after he started devolving into what he has been for the last 2 years, it's a fall from grace that I think we've all seen coming, but we weren't ready for it to be this abrupt. And man, if only Era July had gotten to him just a little bit earlier with that offer for rehab, I highly doubt Nick would have taken it. But, you know, it's just, you know, real life really is stranger than fiction, I guess is the best way to put it. But yeah, I want to know your thoughts on the Nick Rekieta situation, so let me know in the comments down below, or let me know on X, where you can find me at Bolt the Word, and please do subscribe. I'm a nerdy news channel. I cover nerdy news every day, not usually stuff like this. This is actually out of my regular bag, but again, I just thought it was really interesting and want to get your guys' thoughts. But also check me out on Instagram at wordsofparadise_Leon, and become a member for $4.99 a month. You can join the Discord, choose the articles I go over on a day-to-day basis, choose the videos I react to on my Friday night live streams, and of course, get in on the Discord with over 70 other vital idols. It is a bright, beautiful, glowing, vibrant community that we are building. I would love to have you as part of it, because we only care about one kind of diversity, and that is diversity of thought. So join the Discord, subscribe, and until next time, it's all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise.